Pokemon Ultimate Adventures by Mikazuki. There he stood, with spiky blonde hair, a massive figure, the gigantic super fiend, G.I. Jolt. G.I. Jolt? What are you doing here? Ash quavered. Nothing much, and certainly not saving you, G.I. Jolt growled, not looking at Ash. I came here for one reason. Him. He pointed at White Kaiser in the distance. White Kaiser shook his head and stood up, as if the punch had had no effect. It's you, he growled, seeing the super fiend. One of the followers of Skyrender. G.I. Jolt, am I correct? He took a fighting stance, his eyes focused entirely on the super fiend. It seemed he had forgotten about Ash. You know which one of us is stronger, yet you're actually challenging me? G.I. Jolt cracked his knuckles. Hey, Ketchum! He called over to the Pokemon trainer. You expect to reach Skyrender at that pathetic level? What? Ash blinked, confused as the battle started, and the Super Fiend and Kaiser Knight charged at each other. G.I. Jolt swung his fist down, but the Knight dodged and spun in the air, slamming him across the face with a powerful roundhouse kick. Jolt's entire body stumbled back from the powerful impact, yet he growled and straightened up, lunging forward and grabbing White Kaiser's smaller body, lifting him over his head. He shouted, smashing him to the ground head first. But despite having his head slammed right into the sand, White Kaiser showed no sign of pain, and kicked upward, slamming Jolt's chin and knocking him back. The two of them growled, not saying a word. The two charged at each other, switching powerful blows one after the other. They were evenly matched. Ash gasped. G.I. Jolt strong. No, powerful, he said, remembering Jolt's superhuman strength. But that White Kaiser is so small, yet his strength matches his exactly. No, it even surpasses him. Ash gasped as he saw White Kaiser gaining the upper hand, slamming Jolt's face and causing him to reel back. How can any human being have so much strength? Jolt stumbled back and collapsed to his knees, panting heavily. The answer is just that he isn't human. So, this is the Herculean strength of G.I. Jolt? You're no match for me, White Kaiser sneered. In strength, speed, and skill, I'm completely superior. You're right. I can't beat you alone, Jolt smirked. No! White Kaiser's eyes opened wide as a figure suddenly sprung from the sand behind him, and he felt a piercing in his back. Looking down, he saw a blade sticking out right through his chest. What? Ash, Brock, Tracy, and Ebby gasped, and Misty screamed and covered her eyes. Doton no Jutsu, the ground cloaking technique. Standing behind White Kaiser was the one who had stabbed right through him, the icy ninja super fiend, AntiArctic. He pulled out the ninja toe, a small sword used by ninjas, and sheathed it. You! White Kaiser growled, turning around and seeing the icy super fiend. What shocked Ash more than there being two super fiends was the fact that White Kaiser had been stabbed right through the heart and was still alive. There was no blood, no wound, no sign of injury other than a hole in his shirt. We told you, Ketchum. This man is not at all human. Not anymore, at least, AntiArctic spoke. White Kaiser is the result of a horrible technology that goes against the very basis of nature, to cast aside his very flesh and blood and replace them with the power of machines and steel. He's no longer human. He is Kaiser. Ash, Misty, Brock, Tracy, and Ebby gasped at what AntiArctic had said. It couldn't be possible. But for him to be that strong, and to be able to survive a mortal wound without flinching, that was the only explanation. You are correct. I am what you people would call a cyborg, a human who has been blessed with this invincible body. White Kaiser took a fighting stance. I have given everything for this power, and I am now invincible. Strength and power means everything in this world. The weak deserve their fate. He charged forward to finish G.I. Jolt off. AntiArctic struck his palm to the ground. Ha! Suddenly, a layer of ice formed beneath White Kaiser's feet, causing him to slip and lose his balance. Ha! Jolt shouted, smashing his fist against White Kaiser's face. White Kaiser was thrown back and hit the ground. He growled at AntiArctic and quickly turned to attack him. AntiArctic dodged left and right, evading White Kaiser at every step. His movements were incredible, and even White Kaiser couldn't keep up with him. What makes you think you can outstep a ninja? AntiArctic swung his leg upward, a thick layer of ice frozen over his shin. Ha! He kicked White Kaiser across the face. White Kaiser was getting madder by the second, but with the arrival of this icy super fiend who did everything to hinder his movements, while the large one kept smashing him with his strength, he was at a disadvantage. As AntiArctic attacked, White Kaiser reached down and grabbed his scimitar. Ash and his friends gasped. White Kaiser had stabbed through AntiArctic's body. White Kaiser smiled and laughed insanely. He'd gotten him. What? Suddenly, he saw it. On the end of his sword wasn't the super fiend, but a log? Kawarimi no Jutsu, the substitution technique. AntiArctic stood behind White Kaiser, holding the ninja toe. Even your strength is no match for the arts of the ninja, he smirked as White Kaiser turned around. Succession technique! Kogo and shoot! Freeze to death! With all his strength, he stabbed into White Kaiser's body. But this time, instead of a simple stab, he had concentrated his powers through the small blade. And inside White Kaiser's body, everything was beginning to freeze. White Kaiser gasped, shivering. The cold spread through his body. Everything was frozen. He couldn't move at all. Armageddon Fist! Jolt ran towards the immobilized White Kaiser and swung his arm. Electricity crackled around his fists, and sparks flew through the air. There was a huge crash that sounded like thunder as he slammed White Kaiser with a mighty slam. White Kaiser was sent flying into the sky, over the horizon. G.I. Jolt looked into the distance and could see a tiny figure. He then pulled out a large bazooka with the words Big Shot painted on the side. Fire! A gigantic rocket flew through the air, homing in on the distant target. There was a distant explosion as it struck. Oh yeah! G.I. Jolt cheered and turned around. Ah! Everyone gasped. The one enemy who had effortlessly defeated them, Pokemon and all, was taken down by these two super fiends. He's definitely survived, and he'll be coming back for us sooner or later. We better move. A drawn-out battle with him will surely result in our deaths, AntiArctic said, retaining the serious look on his face. There is nothing left for us in this desert. Let's go, he said simply, and walked off. Jolt didn't leave, however, and instead turned to Ash. Hey, Ketchum! He called out to him. Don't bother thanking us, because as I said earlier, we did not come to help you. We only fought that man because he is our enemy, and because we believed you could have handled yourself better, though it seems we were wrong, he growled. Skyrender believes in you, that you have the potential to grow strong. He shook his head and turned around. But back there, that was pitiful. Ash clenched his teeth. Jolt was insulting him, but he was right. He really couldn't do anything about it. No! It's not my fault! They were the ones who started it! We were the ones being attacked! And when they gave you the choice to leave or fight, what did you choose? Asked Jolt, and Ash looked down. You are a great Pokemon trainer, more than skilled enough to win whatever Pokemon League competition, but that's it. With your power, you can do little more than play in those games. He looked at Ash seriously. The real world is much harsher than you think, and Pokemon Masters are worth nothing in the face of people like these. There are those who are strong, stronger than me, stronger than White Kaiser even, and many of them will make themselves your enemy. What will you do then? Ash closed his eyes and looked down. If you want to have any hope of survival, you must grow strong, stronger even than me. The path you walk is a dangerous one, and if you go any further, the games will stop, and the battles will become those between life and death. Jolt paused. The choice is yours. Return to the safe places and play in your Pokemon Leagues if you think it's too tough. But remember what I told you. And with that, Jolt left. Ash clenched his fists tightly, saying absolutely nothing. Ash? Misty carefully approached him. I am weak, Ash finally spoke, looking down at his hands. At my current level, I can definitely win the league, but against the world itself, I'm too small. He closed his fist and looked at Jolt. Hey, Jolt! He shouted to the super fiend in the distance. You tell Skyrender that I'll become strong! Stronger than you! Stronger than him! I will surpass everybody! He shouted. A smirk crossed Jolt's face, and he raised his hand high in the air, giving Ash a thumbs up. He smiled as he traveled further into the desert, and as Ash and his group started moving along again. You are right, Sky. That boy has spirit like I've never seen before. He spoke out loud. Without a doubt, the next time I see him, he'll be a serious contender, probably even stronger than me. Location: Team Rocket's crash site. It's not fair! James whined. Right when we get a new balloon, some nutjob super fiend shoots us down! Incidentally, the figure that G.I. Jolt fired, that he thought was White Kaiser, happened to be Team Rocket's balloon. Oh, quit complaining! Jesse slapped James, shutting him up. Meowth, this bites, Meowth sighed. As the two super fiends and Ash's group leave in their separate directions, they all know this isn't the last time they will meet. The world is vast, but those who walk the path of the strong shall cross, as is the fate of the warrior. To be continued.